أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فقد قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد صدق الله العظيم. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليقل خيرا أو ليصمت أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. My dear respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Yes, dear respected brothers, elders, ulama karam, everyone that's present here, salam to all of you. And alhamdulillah, it's a It's a great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has showered us with so many blessings. And if we think about it, everything that we have is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? The fact that we have food to eat, we have clothes to wear, the fact that we have a roof over our head, these are all blessings and gifts from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And not only our material possessions, but even our own bodies, these are gifts from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The eyes that we use to see with, the ears that we hear with, everything that we have, the fact that our hearts are beating every single time we inhale, every single time we breathe, these are all blessings from Allah. And from amongst these blessings and gifts, there's one gift and blessing that I want to talk about today, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to each and every one of us. And we use it very often, yet at the same time, very often it's forgotten that this is also something that we should give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for. And that, my dear brothers and sisters, is the blessing of the tongue. The ability to speak, the ability to be able to express one's feelings, to articulate and to be able to tell other people how we're feeling, to be able to express our love and our affection to others. This is a very great gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon all of us. And it's something, our tongue is something which we use so often. And yet, a lot of us, we forget to give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for it. Right? There was a study done at the University of Arizona. They did a study in which they calculated that a person on average speaks 16,000 words every single day. 16,000 words, which is in no way a small number. Right? So we use it so much. And even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself, He acknowledges it as being a very great blessing and gift which He has bestowed upon us. In Surah Ar-Rahman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts the surah by saying, Ar-Rahman, Allama al-Qur'an. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the most merciful. Right? And He is the one that has blessed us with the Qur'an, which is a means of guidance for us. خَلَقَ الْإِنسان. And then goes on to say that He has created the human being. He has created us, the fact, our very own existence. This is also another blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So after mentioning these two great blessings, right? The fact that we even exist, and the Qur'an itself, which is a guidance for us, right after that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, عَلَّمَهُ الْبَيَانِ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has then taught the human being the ability to speak. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself mentioning the ability to speak along with these two great blessings really shows how enormous of a thing this is, how significant it is. Right? And along with being something significant, something that we use so often, there is of course many rules which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us, right? Regarding the tongue, right? Regarding the way that we use our words, so that we use our words only in a way which is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and saving ourselves from using it in a way which is displeasing to Him. So my dear brothers, what is the best way that we can give thanks to Allah for having blessed us with the ability to speak, for giving us this tongue which we use so often? The best way to give thanks to Allah is by using it in the way that is pleasing to Him, right? And in giving thanks to Him for that. The best way to give thanks is using it in a way which is pleasing to Him, right? So the best thing that we can do is use our tongues to remember Him. Right? Once a Sahabi came to the Prophet ﷺ and said to him, or rather asked him, that, O Messenger of Allah, the injunctions of deen are so many, and there's so many different things that I have to be mindful of. But give me one advice, one thing that I can hold fast to. So the Prophet ﷺ replied to him by saying, in this hadith is in Tirmidhi, لا يزال لسانك رطبا من ذكر الله. That let your tongue always be moist in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is something that we should be mindful of and try our best to bring into our lives. That every free moment that we get, we use our tongues to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Unfortunately today, as soon as we get a free moment, the first thing we do is pull out our phones, right? Even when we're in the car, when we stop at a stoplight, the first thing we do is pull out our phones. We're waiting in line, and that's the first thing that we turn to. But rather, what a person should do is use this time, this spare time every here and there, to recite the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just imagine when a person, he's waiting in line, if he's remembering Allah, how many times could that person recite Surah Ikhlas or recite the Kalimah? How much reward can you just reap by just standing in line, or just when you're driving your car, right? And of course, being mindful of also reading the Quran, which is the best form of dhikr, which is in fact the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself, especially with Ramadan coming. That's definitely the best way that we can use our tongues, which is what? Once again, using it for the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also using it as a means of helping others. Right? Using our tongue as a means of helping others, giving advice to people. Someone, he asks us for advice, instead of just wasting that person's time, we use our tongue and we use our speech in such a way that we can guide that person to that which is true. Right? Or instead of using it to make fun of people or to hurt others' feelings, that we use it in a way to encourage others to do good things. Right? To praise other people and to make them feel better about themselves. Right? Because in essence, probably even more important than using our tongues and our speech in a good way is probably more important than that is what? Saving ourselves from using it in a way which we would earn the displeasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Because there's so many different sins that a person can commit through their tongue. In fact, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there's a hadith in Tabarani that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, أَكْثَرُ خَطَايَا ابْنِ آدَمْ فِي لِسَانِهِ, that the majority of sins committed by a human being are through his tongue. Now just think about that. The majority of sins committed by Ibn Adam are through his tongue. Right? So we really have to be mindful of it. Why is that? Because there's so many different things that a person can do wrong. If a person is in the habit of lying, even just the littlest, the small bit of untruth, right? This could be something held against us. Right? A lot of people, when we get together, right, and these are some of the things we'll talk about, that people, when they get together, they talk about different things, and they start talking about other people, talking about whatever trouble someone might have got into, or whatever the case may be, right? But instead, we should use it only to praise others, right? And only as a means of encouraging others rather than pointing out other people's faults. Right? And a person has to be extremely mindful, because even just one word or even just one sentence can be a means of that person's destruction. It comes in a hadith of Bukhari that the Prophet ﷺ said, وَإِنَّ الْعَبْدَ لَا يَتَكَلَّمُ بِالْكَلِمَةِ مِنْ سَخَطِ اللَّهِ, that sometimes it happens that a servant of Allah, that he says something, لَا يُلْقِي لَهَا بَالًا, but he doesn't really think much of it. He just says a certain word or says a certain sentence, right? But he doesn't really think that it'll have any effect. He doesn't think about the gravity of the consequences of the results of what he's going to say, right? But يَهْوِي بِهَا فِي جَهَنَّمْ, yet because of that one sentence that he says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throws that person into the depths of Jahannam, right? Just because of that one thing, right? But a person might be thinking that why is the admonishment so severe? Why is the warning so serious about just saying a few words? Right? That's because we haven't understood how powerful our words can be. Right? Our words are very powerful. And I'm sure if we think about our own lives and the conversations that we've had and things that people have said to us, that we can examine and look into our own past and see that sometimes a person, it must have happened at least once in our life that someone said something to us and we still feel the pain of that until today. And just imagine the inverse of that, then that also means that it's very likely that we must have said something that could have really hurt someone's feelings, such that they're even feeling the pain of that today. And this is just how it is. There's an Arabic poem that says, لا يلتام or جراحات السنان لها التيام ولا يلتام ما جرح اللسان, which basically translates to that the wounds which are inflicted by a sword or by a knife, those wounds will eventually heal, but the wounds of the tongue, they may never heal. Right? So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from doing such a thing or saying something that could hurt someone's feelings. Unfortunately today it's very common that we're joking around with friends and we're talking about such person, and he'll be sitting there right in front of us and we'll be talking about him and making fun of that person. And of course, he's not going to say that, oh, you hurt my feelings. Right? Most of the time he's not going to say that, because that's just the society that we live in today. That if you make fun of someone and they get offended, now he's the one that has the problem. What's wrong with this guy? We're just messing around. Why is he getting so insulted? Why is he getting so offended? Right? And because of that though, that person, it's possible that he'll harbor those ill feelings in his heart. And a person, we have to, if we hurt someone, then it's the right of that person that we ask him for forgiveness. But a lot of the times, that person won't even show that he's been hurt. So then how are we going to ask that person for forgiveness? Right? On the Day of Judgment, right, the Prophet ﷺ, he describes, he asked the Sahaba once, that, do you know who a muflis is? Do you know who a muflis is? So the word muflis, it literally translates to someone who's poor, who basically has no money. So that's exactly what the Sahaba radiallahu anhum said. They said, Ya Rasulullah, a muflis is someone who has no wealth. He has no material possessions. And the Prophet ﷺ replied by saying that the true muflis, the truly destitute person, is the one who come on the Day of Judgment with mountains of good deeds. Right? Huge piles of good deeds, so much salah and sadaqah that he had given. He'll have all the rewards of that with him on the Day of Judgment. But what will happen is there will also be a huge line of people. Right? Just an enormous line of people who are coming and taking this person's good deeds. The same deeds that he had worked so hard to amass, all that effort that he had made is now being wasted. Why? Why are these people coming and taking his deeds? Because he wasn't mindful of the way that he treated others. He wasn't mindful of the words that he would say, of the feelings that he would hurt. And those people, it's very likely that they didn't even express the fact that they were hurt. So how is that person going to ask for forgiveness? Right? So this, my dear brothers, is why we see such severe warnings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, right? Or the hadith that I said, that a person, he might just say one word or one sentence, because of which he'll be thrown into the depths of Jahannam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us. So my dear brothers and sisters, let's not fall prey to this trap of shaitan, of just not caring about what we're saying. Let's always consider what we say and avail of the advice of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In the hadith in Muslim, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reported to have said, "Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawm al-akhir, falyaqul khayran aw liyasmut." The hadith which I recited in the beginning, that whoever believes in Allah and the last day, basically whoever considers themselves as a believer, then he should either speak good or remain silent. Either speak good or remain silent. And this is truly a golden advice, right? Which people even say nowadays, that if you have nothing good to say, then just don't say it. Right? So we really have to think, whenever we decide to speak up, whenever we decide to open our mouths, then we should always think about what we're going to say. Is there any benefit to what we're saying? Or is it just useless talk? Right? So, my dear brothers, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to practice upon that. And a lot of the times, the better option is, instead of just saying anything, as the Prophet ﷺ said, liyasmut, that the person should just stay quiet. In another narration, it also comes, man samata najah. The one who remains silent, he's the one who has saved himself. And that's why, because I'm sure we've experienced many occasions and incidents in which we said something that really got us in a lot of trouble. Right? I'm sure especially those that are married, that's the case, right? With our spouse, that a lot of times we say something in the moment, in the heat of the moment, we're angry at one another and we say something, and now we have to live with that for the rest of our lives. Right? And this is something not just with your spouse, it's with anyone. It could be a friend, it could be your parents. A lot of times you just don't think about what you're saying, and the words are out, and now you can't take them back. Right? So, what do? We avail of the advice of the Prophet ﷺ. If you have nothing to say, don't say it at all. And remember that by staying silent, you will, inshallah, save yourself from any type of trouble. There's one story regarding this, that there was a famous king, and he had a son. So this son, he was extremely pious. And he would hardly ever talk, hardly ever say anything. Because why? Because he feared Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That every single word, as I said in the beginning, مَا يَلْفِظُ مِنْ قَوْلٍ إِلَّا لَدَيْهِ رَقِيبٌ عَتِيدٌ, that a person, he doesn't speak a word except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, or rather the angels, they are recording that. So he was mindful of every single little thing that he would say, and spending the majority of his time in ibadah and doing good actions. But his father eventually became fed up with this child, this young man, because he wouldn't talk. So, this is just the state that it was, the condition, the backstory. But basically what happened was, one day they went on a hunting trip, and while they were in the jungle hunting for something to shoot, It was taking a very long time to find any type of game, anything that they could hunt. And eventually though, they're just sitting there waiting. And then all of a sudden this bird, it starts squawking very loudly, making a very loud noise. And as soon as it opens its beak and the noise comes out, someone aims at it and shoots it, and it dies. Right? So now this young man who hasn't spoken for days, this is how he finally speaks up. He says, "Man samata naja." He says that whoever remains silent, he'll be saved. You see this bird, it spoke up, it made that noise, and that's why I got shot, and that's why I died. So now his father becomes extremely angry with him, and they go back to the palace as soon as they can, and now it's time for him to go through his punishment. He gets beat, he gets whooped, and then eventually when his punishment is over, the only thing he has to say is, "Man samata naja." That if I had remained silent when that bird died, then I too would have been saved from this punishment. So the lesson that we take once again from here is that a lot of the times it's better that we just keep our mouth shut instead of saying something that can get us in trouble, instead of saying something that could hurt someone's feelings or something that would displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there's so many different aspects of speech that we can talk about, and this is just probably one or two of them, whereas we have so many other things. But just another thing before we close is that, my dear brothers and sisters, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Min husni islam al-mar'i tarkuhu ma la ya'nihi," which translates to that the excellence of a person's Islam is leaving that which does not concern him. Leaving that which does not concern him. A lot of the times we see today that we sit together over a cup of coffee or just reminiscing with friends, and we start talking about, he said this and she said that this guy did this thing, and he got in trouble, or that person, like, he's in jail or something now. So many other things, just different examples, just talking about other people and just talking about their business and just gossiping and going on and on and on about other people's lives, things that have nothing to do with us. You understand? This is completely a waste of time. And not only is it a waste of time, but when we start doing ghibah, when we start backbiting others and saying things that that they would not be pleased with if they heard us saying, then we're really throwing ourselves into a pit of punishment. You understand? This is something that the Prophet ﷺ, this ghibah, this backbiting, talking about people behind their backs, saying negative things about them, is something that the Prophet ﷺ has warned us very much about. And one of the main reasons why people will be punished in the grave. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from that and allow us to realize that how grave these sins are. Right? So what I want us all to just walk away with is, and just to recap what we've talking about, what we've spoken about, is that the tongue is, once again, it's a very great blessing. But let's not misuse it. There's so many different sins, like I said, أكثر خطايا ابن آدم في لسانه, that the majority of the sins of Ibn Adam, of the human being, are committed through his tongue. So let's become aware of these different sins that we ourselves might be falling into without even realizing it. Let's become aware of these and try our best to avail of the advice of the Prophet ﷺ, to only speak up when it's needed, and to remain silent when there's no need to speak. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to practice upon all that was heard. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. We'll have some time to pray our sunnahs, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Please pass the donation boxes, inshallah. As-sadaqat tadfa'ul bala. So charity holds off any type of calamity or anything that may befall you. So please pass donation boxes and donate generously, inshallah. Every week we have Team Fajr. Inshallah, all brothers are requested to join us for Team Fajr tomorrow, on Saturday. Inshallah, Fajr will be at 6:15 a.m. Inshallah, this month we'll be having our seminar held by Mufti Saad Rauf on April 12th at 7:30. And the topic for this month will be disengaging the digital, recalibrating our compass in the age of technology. Inshallah, also save the date. For this month, we have our annual retreat from April 26th to 28th, and it's entitled Ambassadors of the Almighty, Lives of the Prophet, alayhi wassalatu wassalam. Inshallah, you may visit our website, masjidds.org, for more information and to register for free. Inshallah, Helping Hands Relief Development will be having a fundraiser entitled Empowering Communities, Building Lives in Pakistan. Inshallah, this will be on Friday, March 29th at 7 p.m. in the Holiday Inn in Elk Grove Village. Jazakullahu Khairun.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي أحسن خلق الإنسان وعدله وأفاض على قلبه خزائن العلوم فأكمله، ثم أمده بلسان يترجم به عما حواه القلب وعقله ويكشف عنه ستره الذي أرسله. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله الذي أكرمه وبجله، ونبيه الذي أرسله بكتاب أنزله، صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ما كبر الله عبد وهلله. أما بعد، فإن اللسان جرمه صغير وجرمه كبير، فلذلك مدح الشرع الصمت وحث عليه إلا بالحق. فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: من يضمن لي ما بين لحييه وما بين رجليه أضمن له الجنة. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: سباب المسلم فسوق وقتاله كفر. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: إن الصدق بر، وإن البر يهدي إلى الجنة، وإن الكذب فجور، وإن الفجور يهدي إلى النار. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: أتدرون ما الغيبة؟ قالوا: الله ورسوله أعلم. قال: ذكرك أخاك بما يكره. قيل: أفرأيت إن كان في أخي ما أقول؟ قال: إن كان فيما تقول فقد اغتبته، وإن لم يكن فيه فقد بهته. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: من صمت نجا. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: من حسن إسلام المرء تركه ما لا يعنيه. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: من كان ذا وجهين في الدنيا كان له يوم القيامة لسان من نار. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: من عير أخاه بذنب لم يمت حتى يعمله، يعني من عمل قد تاب منه. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: لا تظهر الشماتة لأخيك فيرحمه الله ويبتليك. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: إذا مدح الفاسق غضب الرب واهتز له العرش. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الأمين. أما بعد، فيا معشر المسلمين، أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد بعدد من صلى وصام. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد بعدد من قعد وقام. اللهم صل على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى سائر الصحابة والتابعين وعلى عبادك الصالحين. اللهم أيد الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم انصر من نصر دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم واجعلنا منهم، واخذل من خذل دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ولا تجعلنا منهم ولا معهم. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه، وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم إنا نسألك حبك وحب من يحبك وحب عمل يقربنا إلى حبك. اللهم إنا نسألك من الخير كله عاجله وآجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم، ونعوذ بك من الشر كله عاجله وآجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم. عباد الله رحمكم الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون. وأقيموا الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله، أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة، قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
Please straighten your lines. Stand shoulder to shoulder. Please making sure there's no gaps. Allahu Akbar. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. والتين والزيتون وطور سينين وهذا البلد الأمين. لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم، ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين، إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون. فما يكذبك بعد بالدين؟ أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين؟ الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى وقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في قرآن الكريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذا سألك عبادي عني قال الله تبارك وتعالى وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداعي إذا دعان فليستجيبوا لي وليؤمنوا بي لعلهم يرشدون. وقال الله تعالى في مقام آخر وقال ربكم ادعوني أستجب لكم إن الذين يستكبرون عن عبادتي سيدخلون جهنم داخرين. وقال تعالى قل ما يعبأ بكم ربي لولا دعاؤكم. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من لم يسأل الله يغضب عليه أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. أما بعد, ulama and the scholars of the past, after surveying the Quran and the books of the Hadith, they came to the conclusion that in the books of the Hadith, in the texts of Islam, there are only two actions in which the word qareeb comes with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The word qareeb. The word qareeb means to be very, very close to your Creator. The first one is when Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he mentions that the closest someone is to their Rabb, aqrabu ma yakunu al-abd, that the closest a servant can get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is when he's in sujood, wa huwa sajid. Being very, very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the second one is mentioned in the Quran after the ayat of Ramadan. وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that when the servants come to you, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when they come to you and they ask you regarding me. So in other places in the Quran, the Arabic, whenever someone asks Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam something, it's always يسألونك عن المحيض يسألونك عن الأنفال يسألونك عن الأهلة يسألونك عن الشهر الحرام. All of these different يسألونك عن الروح, different people in different occasions asking Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam about different things. And in all of those places, whenever it said يسألونك, when they come to you and ask you, O Allah's Nabi, يسألونك, the response that comes all the time in those verses is قُل. Then say, O Allah's Nabi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam to respond to them. But inside this particular verse, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي, when a person comes to you and when my slave comes to you and asks you regarding me, then the reply wasn't given to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam that tell that person who's asking you that I'm very close. That reply wasn't given. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He Himself directly answers that person. He says, I am very near. What that means is when a person makes dua, a person is asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when I make my dua to you, how long would it take for my dua to be heard? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, as soon as the words leave your mouth, I'm already there, next to you. أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. I respond to the caller when he calls. فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي. So answer, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, so answer my call. And what is the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah? The call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah is to make dua. For this reason, I gathered a few ahadith. Inshallah, to the blessings and the barakah of these ahadith, dua comes into my life first and foremost, and in the lives of everyone else. Usually when we speak about dua, the first misconception that we have is that I only make dua when I have a need. It's not like salah, it's not like fasting. Salah, a person, he understands it's an obligation. Fasting, they understand it's an obligation. So we hear the mu'adhin call out the adhan. So then 5 times salah we come to the masjid because we understand it's an obligation. It's not that we have some sort of need. Then Ramadan comes, and when Ramadan comes, I fast because it's the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not that I have some kind of need. But very rarely do you find that person, how you have a person who says that I have to pray my salah, I have to fast, I cannot miss my salah, I cannot miss my fast. Very rarely would you find a person who says that I cannot miss my dua, I have to make my dua. The way we understood salah and fasting and hajj and zakat as an obligation, very few people have understood the obligation of dua that is incumbent upon me. So this is the first thing, that first misconception, that I only make dua when I have a need. Whereas that person, if he were to look into the Quran, into the hadith, he would find a completely different picture. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when he was asked regarding dua, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "Ad-du'a huwa al-ibadah." That dua and a person's entire worship, all of his salah, all of his zakat, all of his fasting, all of that, the amount, the barometer, the measuring stick of a person's iman will be determined by how much dua that person makes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If that person makes dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will be recorded as a servant, he will be recorded as a beggar. Ad-du'a huwa al-ibadah. That dua, it is ibadah. Like how we say al-hajj arafah. That the entire ibadah, the entire act of hajj, it's standing on the plains of Arafah. So our entire ibadah is dua. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam explaining this, after he mentions in the hadith, he recited the ayah, وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمُ ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the ayah that your Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to His creations, you and me, that whenever you make dua to me, ud'uni, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, make dua to me, astajib lakum, I will respond to you. And this is very beautiful. But then, what comes next? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us that dua leaves our lives. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then mentions, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ عَنْ عِبَادَتِي. As for that person who has too much pride to do my worship, meaning to make dua to me, سَيَدْخُلُونَ جَهَنَّمَ دَاخِرِينَ. That person will enter straight into the fire of Jahannam. And to give us some more context, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in another place, and how to make us understand how important dua is to each and every single one of us, and to understand how important of an obligation dua is to each and every single one of us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, قُلْ مَا يَعْبَأُ بِكُمْ رَبِّي لَوْلَا دُعَاؤُكُمْ. That if it wasn't for your dua, if it wasn't for your calling out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have no concern for you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wouldn't even bother about you. كُلْ مَا يَعْبَأُ بِكُمْ رَبِّي لَوْلَا دُعَاؤُكُمْ. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in another hadith that مَنْ لَمْ يَسْأَلِ اللَّهِ, whoever doesn't ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that person might think, I have no need, I don't have to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for anything. يَغْضَبْ عَلَيْهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He becomes angry with that person. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through the blessed tongue of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, He opened up the benefits of dua for us. Like any other ibadah, if you pray salah, you'll get this reward. If you fast like this, you'll get this reward. If you make dua, you'll get so much reward, so much reward. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened up the blessings of dua for us. Because it was feared that if a person, he continuously made dua over and over and over again, and he didn't get his dua accepted, then it was feared that that person would stop making dua. And nothing is lost in dua. There's only benefit upon benefit upon benefit. And dua is that unique ibadah. Dua is that unique act of worship which has 100% full sincerity, 100% full ikhlas. Why? Because when a person he's making dua, he's not saying, hey, look at me. That person is crying before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That person is begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, please Allah, please Allah, please Allah. I beg of you, I beg of you, I beg of you. So dua is that unique ibadah that has 100% complete sincerity inside. And it's a unique thing that the law of this world is that the servant, whichever servant goes to his master, and he asks his master, and he goes to him, he says, boss, I need some food. Then the boss gives it to him. The second time he goes, he says, boss, I need some clothes. The boss gives it to him. The third time he goes, he says, boss, I need some shoes. The boss will get extremely irritated. The master will get irritated. He says, you are the servant and I am the master. You are supposed to be doing work for me. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is completely unlike His creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that the more we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more beloved we become to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Completely opposite. The more we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more we become beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in two ways, he explained this beautiful concept of dua. Why maybe our du'as might not be answered the way we want it to be answered. So then in one hadith, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he mentions that a servant whoever makes dua, his dua is continuously accepted. His dua is continuously accepted as long as he does not become impatient. Then the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala alayhim, the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in, they asked Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, what does it mean for a servant to become impatient? And Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says that the person is making dua, and he's making dua, and he's making dua, and when he doesn't see the fruit of his dua, he says, I'm making dua, and I'm making dua, I'm making dua, I'm not seeing any results. So then he stops making dua. As soon as he stops making the dua, that's when his dua is not accepted. As soon as he stops making the dua, that's when his dua is not accepted. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, he didn't say, when he asked the Sahaba, he didn't say, ayyud dua, which dua is the most accepted. He said, ayyud dua asma', which dua is the most heard. Because for us, for you and me as servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, acceptance in His court means if it's heard by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because our understanding has to be that this tongue of mine is so filthy, and these hands of mine, they have done so many sins, and the law of the world is that that hand which committed a crime against his master, that hand does not go back to the master to ask for anything. But this filthy tongue of ours and these hands of ours, when we lift it in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that dua is exiting our mouth and it's traveling at such a speed, and it's traveling through the heavens, and it's banging against the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's being accepted into that court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is what it means for our dua to be accepted. a very pious friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a famous sheikh, one of his disciples were asking him, one of his murids were asking him that I'm making dua and I'm crying before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm crying before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but my du'as are not getting accepted. So then this friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he told that person that for you, for your Allah, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enjoy hearing the cries of your dua is more beneficial for you than to have your dua accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hear your dua constantly is better for you and more beneficial for you than to have your dua accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is how we have to understand the concept of dua. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's the Almighty. He doesn't need any single one of us. We need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is why we make the dua. But as we know, human beings, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created us. He knows our nature. He knows that human beings, we understand, yeah, that's in the akhirat, that's very good. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He also knows that we as insan, humankind, we love seeing the results of our dua inside this world. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if He accepted every single one of our du'as, then there would be problems in the world. The world wouldn't work. One person wants this thing, another person wants the opposite. The world wouldn't work. But then at the same time, if our du'as, some of our du'as weren't getting accepted, then that person will lose hope and he would stop making dua. And so Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he explained this in another hadith. And he says, مَا مِن مُسْلِمٍ يَدْعُو بِدَعْوَةٍ ليس فيها إثم ولا قطيعة رحم إلا أعطاه الله بها إحدى ثلاث. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam so beautifully, he says that there isn't a Muslim who prays and makes dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as long as he's asking for something halal and he's not breaking the ties of kinship. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give him one of three things. إما أن تعجل له دعوته. The first thing Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, really what was supposed to happen was that the servant, when he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the servant is supposed to ask the master, what can I do for you? But when we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what can I do for you? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that what you can do for me, what you do for me is you ask me to give you. Subhanallah. You ask me to give you. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says the first thing that happens, either his dua is answered inside the dunya. And one misconception is, we think like this is the highest form of acceptance. We made dua for a new car and poof, magically there's a new car. But in reality, this is the lowest form of acceptance. Because in other ahadith, we see that that person, when he sees, and this is coming to the second point, إِمَّا أَن يَدَّخِرَهَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ, that either it gets accepted in this dunya, which is the lowest form of acceptance. This is another misconception we have to get out of our minds. Or either Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stores it for us in the akhirah. When that person, he goes to the akhirah and he sees how much dua and how much blessings and benefits he gained in the akhirah, he would have wished that none of his du'as in this world got accepted. He would have wished that not a single dua of his in this world would have got accepted. And the third thing, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, وَإِمَّا أَن يَصْرِفَ عَنْهُ السُّوءَ مِثْلَهَا. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he mentions that nothing can save you from predestination. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants something bad to happen to you, na'udhu billah, we can have our security, we can have guards, we can have pit bulls, canines, watchdogs. But if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants the robbery to take place, that robbery will definitely take place. But dua is that one unique thing. That person who makes dua, either it gets accepted in this dunya, either it gets stored for him in the akhirah, or either that dua is used to avert a calamity that would have befallen him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the decree that punishment is coming towards you like a missile. And that person lifts up his hands. He makes dua. That punishment is about to hit. فَيَعْتَلِجَانِ In one of the hadith it mentions فَيَعْتَلِجَانِ. Then dua acts as a barrier, as a shield. It doesn't let that punishment hit. It tries to go to the left, the dua blocks it from the left. It tries to go to the right, the dua blocks it to the right. It was just about to hit, so close. When the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala alayhim ajma'in, they heard of these benefits, they told Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, إِذَن نُكْثِرْ Then we'll make lots of dua. We're going to make lots of dua all the time. And then the reply Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave, wallahi, if you can understand that Arabic, he said, Allahu Akthar. They said, we'll make lots of dua. The way we say Allahu Akbar, Allah is the greatest, meaning Allah is greater than the governments, Allah is greater than any country, Allah is greater than the tanks, Allah is greater than the entire universe, Allah is greater than every single thing we know, every single thing we don't know. Allahu Akbar, Allah is the greatest. So when the Sahaba said, إِذَن نُكْثِرْ We will make lots of dua, Allah subhanahu Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, Allahu Akthar, that Allah will give even more and even more. And you can't compete with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in giving more and giving more. The last thing I just want to close off with is whenever we make dua, inshallah, in another day, we can go into the etiquettes of how to make the dua. Whenever we make dua, we have to make sure that usually when we make dua, this is another misconception, we make dua for our dunya. And we have to make dua for our dunya. In the Quran, we made dua for our dunya. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give us goodness of this world. But we have to make sure, as soon as our matters of the dunya are fulfilled, we have to start building our akhirah. Because if we fall sick today, we can lift up our hands. If a calamity befalls us today, we can lift up our hands. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remove that sickness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remove that calamity. But when we are in our grave, when we are in the akhirah, standing on the day of qiyamah, at that time we can't make dua. So we have to make sure as soon as we're done building our dunya, we have to build our akhirah. And we have to start making dua for this life and for our qabr and for the akhirah. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept us. This is the easiest way to become the servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is such a big thing. How can we deserve that title of becoming a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? But whoever makes dua, his name is recorded as the servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The easiest way. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to always allow us to make dua and keep dua as an integral part of our lives. Jazakumullahu Khairun. Subhanallah bihamdi, subhanakallahumma bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Inshallah we can perform our sunnah salah. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Please pass the donation boxes and donate to the expenses for the masjid and the construction. Inshallah, tomorrow we will be having our Team Fajr program, Saturday, March 23rd after Fajr. Fajr is at 6:15. Next month, Friday, April 12th at 7:30, Mufti Saad will be delivering the monthly seminar. The topic will be disengaging the digital, recalibrating our compass in the age of technology. So that's next month on Friday, April 12th. As we've been announcing the past few weeks, our annual retreat, we have flyers in the back, will be held April 26, 27, and 28. So that's at the end of April. Our 3-day retreat, the title for this year's program is Ambassadors of the Almighty, Lives of the Prophets. You can visit our website for more information, masjidds.org/retreat2019, for a list of the topics, a list of the speakers, and inshallah the schedule will be up soon and you can register for free. The registration will help us plan for the event, as we will be having meals, lunch, dinner, breakfast. There'll be itikaf open to the brothers, and various other programs, bookstalls. So please, if you could register and help us out so we can have a head count of how many individuals will be joining us that weekend. And that weekend, at the end, Sunday afternoon, we have our annual graduation. So the graduation for our first year program and inshallah this year will be our first high school class graduating, so there'll also be a graduation for them. Inshallah, Helping Hands Relief and Relief Development will be having a fundraiser Friday, March 29th. That's next Friday at 7 p.m. at the Holiday Inn in Elk Grove Village.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله هيا على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الكريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداعي إذا دعان فليستجيبوا لي وليؤمنوا بي لعلهم يرشدون. وقال الله تبارك وتعالى وقال ربكم ادعوني أستجب لكم إن الذين يستكبرون عن عبادتي سيدخلون جهنم داخرين. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الدعاء هو العبادة. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من لم يسأل الله يغضب عليه، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. بارك الله لنا ولكم في القرآن الكريم ونفعنا وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا، من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له، ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، ونشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة، من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد، ومن يعصهما فإنه لا يضر إلا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: أرحم أمتي بأمتي أبو بكر، وأشدهم في أمر الله عمر، وأصدقهم حياء عثمان، وأقضاهم علي، وفاطمة سيدة نساء أهل الجنة، والحسن والحسين سيدا شباب أهل الجنة، وهمزة أسد الله وأسد رسوله. اللهم اغفر للعباس وولده مغفرة ظاهرة وباطنة لا تغادر ذنبا، رضوان الله تعالى عليهم وعن كل الصحابة أجمعين. الله في أصحابي لا تتخذوهم غرضا من بعدي، فمن أحبهم فبحبي أحبهم، ومن أبغضهم فببغضي أبغضهم، وخير الناس قرني ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم. عباد الله رحمكم الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي، يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروه ولا تكفرون. أقيموا الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن محمد رسول الله، أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. هيا على الصلاة، هيا على الصلاة، هيا على الفلاح، هيا على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة، قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
Stole the salah. Please make sure the lines are straight. Stand shoulder to shoulder. Please keep yourselves on line. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين، إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين، اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى، والذي قدر فهدى، والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى. سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله، إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى. ونيسرك لليسرى، فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى. سيذكر من يخشى، ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى، ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا. قد أفلح من تزكى، وذكر اسم ربه فصلى. بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا، والآخرة خير وأبقى. إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى، صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. هل أتاك حديث الغاشية وجوه يومئذ خاشعة عاملة ناصبة تصلى نارا حامية تسقى من عين آنية ليس لهم طعام إلا من ضريع لا يسمن ولا يغني من جوع وجوه يومئذ ناعمة لسعيها راضية في جنة عالية لا تسمع فيها لاغية فيها عين جارية فيها سرر مرفوعة وأكواب موضوعة ونمارق مصفوفة وزرابي مبثوثة أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت وإلى السماء كيف رفعت وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت فذكر إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر إلا من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر إن إلينا إيابهم ثم إن علينا حسابهم. الله أكبر.